Welcome to my very first lesson of British English course for vowels. This is the part 1 of Unit 0 background information, which is about sounds. Now, from the lesson procedure, I feel the background information on sounds is necessary in advance to practice making target sound and identifying sounds in words. Sounds refer to consonant sounds and vowel sounds. But since this course is on vowels, I'll just focus on vowel sounds. So, before I give any explanation, I want you to think about these questions. 1. How many vowel sounds are there in British English? 2. How do we know that a sound is a vowel? 3. How can we name each vowel sound? Feel free to pause this video to think about these questions. Now for question number 1, I must first clarify that my focus is on vowel sounds instead of vowel letters. This is significant in English because unlike Korean vowels, which thankfully have the one-to-one correspondence between letters and sounds, vowel sounds are different from vowel letters in English. Whilst there are 5 vowel letters, A, E, I, O, and U, there are 19 vowel sounds. That includes 12 monophthongs and 7 diphthongs. Since there are more sounds than letters in English, the letters either work by itself like a letter A, which can create A, or R sounds, or with other letters like E and A combine to create E, or sounds. To make sure that each vowel sound have corresponding letter and group of letters, which is one of the reasons why spelling or reading English words may be challenging. To give an extra fact, the number of British vowel sounds is different from the number of American vowel sounds. And even between the same written forms, that is, transcription, how their sound can be different. This will be explained more when we come across these kinds of sounds as the target sounds. Right, the next question was, how do we know that a sound is a vowel? You might think, what do you mean? So to rephrase this question, I meant, what features make E a vowel sound? And what features make P a consonant sound? Just to mention a few. Firstly, to produce vowel, vocal tract should be opened so that the airstream can flow or escape without any blockage or restriction in between. Whereas to produce consonants, in most cases, you will fully close the vocal tract, block the air, and let it stop like for P. Or partially close the vocal tract to restrict the airstream and make it leak like for F. And the asterisk indicates that there could be exceptions for this condition, which I will explain further in the consonant course. Next, whilst vowels are produced by changing the tongue, lip, and jaw positions, resulting in changes of the resonant space, consonants are produced by changing the contact point between a range of speech organs, like 2 lips making a contact to produce P, or a lip and teeth making a contact to produce F. Thirdly, vowels can function as a syllable on its own, but consonants need vowel in order to function as a syllable, although there are special cases. I will come back to the idea of syllable in detail in the next lesson, so please look out for that. Lastly, vowels are all voiced, which means you should feel your vocal cords vibrating when you sound them out. But for consonants, most there are unvoiced ones that pair up with the voiced counterparts. One small fact here is that the rest of these features are the same with Korean sounds, but just the one about voicing of the consonants is different, which makes p not equivalent to p and p or b not equivalent to b. I would love to go on explaining this. In fact, I was almost doing it. But to stay focused, I will leave it for the consonant course. So to get back on track between vowels and consonants, which one do you think would be harder to learn? Well, I feel both have their own difficulties. For consonants, I felt that their technical terms, descriptions, are not so straightforward to get and hard to remember them all, because it involves various combinations of speech organs making contact in various methods. But when it comes to pronouncing them, I found them easy as the positions of speech organs were quite clear. For vowels, I felt that their technical terms descriptions are quite self-explanatory and patterned, because the same speech organs are involved in producing all the vowels. But when it comes to articulating them, I found that the standard of their positions is quite vague. You might understand what I mean as I discuss about question 3. So here in this course, I aim to make the explanations of vowels more explicit and practical. The last question, which I consider as the most important one, is how could we name each vowel sound? Did you know that the vowel sounds, in fact the monophthongs, have their own unique names or technical terms or descriptions? These names give the most perfect clues on how to pronounce the vowel sounds. For instance, the sound E, which we will practice in Unit 1, is called close front unrounded vowel. This name is giving us 3 clues, just like most of the monophthongs that we will learn. From here, can you take a guess on what is it close to in order to pronounce this vowel sound? What is at front to pronounce this vowel sound? What is unrounded to pronounce this vowel sound? The answers can be found from the IPA vowel chart, which is an official vowel chart that summarizes most of the vowel sounds in the languages around the world, including English. Therefore, it can be an excellent starting point for learning the vowel sounds across all the units, since you can see all 12 monophthongs from the Sheep book in this chart. However, one shocking point that I shall reveal at this point is, at least it was extremely shocking for me, I discovered that half of them are not equivalent in terms of their pronunciations. Does it mean that this chart is useless in acquiring the pronunciation of these sounds? Certainly not. You can imagine that they are all hidden in this chart, and I'll help you break the codes throughout the course. Fortunately, Unit 1 target sound E is equivalent to what is shown on this chart. So you will immediately find out why it is called close front unrounded vowel after my explanation on the IPA vowel chart. The IPA vowel chart consists of 2 axes. The vertical axis indicates the vowel closeness, with open indicating that the jaw is opened, and close indicating that the tongue is close to the roof of the mouth. This means that this axis shows the vertical positions of jaw and tongue. Personally, I feel it could be helpful if you also interpret the top row as close, indicating the jaw is relatively closed, since then it could make sense to be the counterpart of open. And treat the whole axis to indicate the vertical position of jaw. In fact, the vertical position of tongue is more transparent when they are in their US terms. Low, low-mid, high-mid, and high. This generates a trend that when you close your jaw, since it goes upward, you will get the high tongue position. And when you open the jaw, since it goes downwards, you will get the low tongue position. And to move on, the horizontal axis represents the vowel backness, which means how forward or backward your tongue is. And it is subdivided into front, central, and back. Now let's take a look at the technical name of E again. We have discovered that the close means the tongue is close to the roof of the mouth, the jaw is relatively closed, and the jaw and tongue move up to the high position in the mouth. Then we have found out that the front means the tongue is moving forward to the front of the mouth. And this now leaves unrounded, which we need to look back at the chart again carefully. One clue about vowel roundedness is on the bottom of this chart. Where symbols appear in pairs, the one to the right represents a rounded vowel. This proves that E is an unrounded vowel since it is on the left from its pairs. But what does it exactly mean? Vowel roundedness means how rounded the lips are, and what is applied in English but not in all the language is that front vowels tend to have unrounded or spread lips, back vowels tend to have rounded lips, and central vowels tend to have neutral lips. This helps us complete the description with the rounding meaning. The lips spread as if you are smiling, and move backward, which is the opposite side to the tongue movement. After exploring the vowel chart, I would like to highlight these 2 points. 1. English vowels show correspondence between vowel closeness and height. And 2. They also show correspondence between vowel backness and roundedness. And these will be the ideas that I will apply as I teach the target sounds, but with more explicit guide in terms of their degree or standard. Finally, just to briefly compare and contrast the Korean vowels and English vowels. Fortunately, the vowel tendencies are the same for Korean vowels, which means that these would be natural to the Korean learners of English. However, the differences that need attention are regards to tenseness, since Korean vowels only have tense but not lex vowels like English. Length, which you would use subconsciously unless you are a news presenter. Because in Korean, difference between the long and short vowels is purely in their lengths, whereas in English, the position and tenseness between long and short vowels are quite different, which make them different in pronunciations. In conclusion, in the main lessons, you'll find out about, but not limited to, possible spelling that represent each vowel sound, differences in pronunciation between the British vowel sounds and their identical-looking American vowel sounds, differences in pronunciation between the vowel transcriptions on the textbook, the daily one, and their identical-looking transcriptions on the official vowel chart. And most importantly, the explicit and consistent descriptions for the pronunciation of every single British vowel sound. I hope this lesson gave you some insights about vowel sounds. And I will be back soon with the Unit 0 Part 2 lesson, which is on syllables. Thank you very much for watching.